Hello guys, welcome back. Picking up from where we stopped in our last video, we were able to set up Django with Celery using Docker. So we had our Docker Compose and Docker file set up already, and we were able to start our Docker container, checking our logs, and we find out that we were able to see our Celery and our flower, which is a monitoring tool for Celery, and we check our log and everything was working fine, right? So it's time for us to start creating background tasks in our Django project. All right, so let's see a basic example of how we can use Celery to run background tasks in our application. So I'm going to just create a mock example. Let's say we have in our app, let's just create a simple sample model. Go to the model.py file. It's a very simple model, which is going to be called customers. Let's say we want to create a task that generates a specific number of customers. We just generate random customers, large number of random customers. So we want to generate like 50, 20 or 30 customer at a time. All right. So we can think of that as a long, intensive, and time consuming task because we are going to be creating multiple model instance or model object at a time. Let's say like 20 objects at the same time. So I know that is not really a time-consuming task or something like that. But let's just think of it as a data-intensive or a time-intensive task that we want to run with Celery. All right, so we just have a simple model. Then in our application, which is in our main app, we'll just create a file called task.py. So that model we just created, let's quickly save it and just add it to our admin site. Have it here. So remember I said that Celery tasks are just basic functions anyway that we run in the background of our application, or that is run outside the normal Django request and response cycle. So that is all about it. So we're going to create a simple function to generate random customers in our database. All right. So yeah, I'm just going to import some utilities. I'm going to import string from Django, and then we'll import from Celery. All right. So in here, we can just create a simple function which we just called create multiple customer. Maybe this will take in the number of customers. It's okay for us to create a customer model or a customer object for the number of customers that is being provided. We'll just create a for loop. Here we want to generate a name for the customer. All right, so we're gonna just create a random name. We can just build customer. Say get random string. You just want like 5 characters of the string will be attached to the name. So once we generate that name, you can also generate a random email. We have this tool here. We can just simply create the customer's model. We're going to import it. It's all imported now. All right. That's object to create. All right. So once we generate the customers for the number of users, we want to return a response. So it has a random number. Random customer was created. We put in a number. If it's a maybe 10 customers, 10 random customers we created, but this should be outside the loop, so we bring it outside the loop. So this is just a simple test function. All right, so it's nothing really practical. We just want to test it. So to make this function run in the background or wherever it is called, we need to put in the decorator of shared task. So once we put this on top of the function, and we'll call this function with a delay method, it will actually Celery will be the one to run this particular method for us. So once we have this, we have our model already imported, so that's fine. So let's quickly test that this task in our view. So basically in this view, we will just create a simple form that actually users can enter the number of customers they want to generate. All right, so this is just a mock example. All right, so what we need to do here is we just create a simple view function called generate. So here we're just going to say if the request is post, because we're going to present in a form to the user to just enter the number of customers they want to create. So once it's post, we want to get the number that the user enter into the form as opposed to get number of customers. I'm going to turn it the number of customers. So in here we need to bring in the task that we created, the Celery task from that task. So once we do that, we want to call the create customer task. Then once we call it, we want to put in the dot delay, passing the number of customers, which is the customers. All right. So once we pass this, once we place in the dot delay on the Celery task method, function, it will be called. So once we do that, we basically want to also return something. You can return a redirect. Then if it's not a post request, that is a get request, we just want to render return render index.html. Alright, so we've not actually created our template yet, so just quickly create the template folder and bring in that. Just create it. So we're making the input a number feed, and we are making the name, this name, number of customer. Don't forget to pass your CFRF token, and we can just wrap this and basically we can just put an h2 around that. I believe if we pass this view, let's create a URL for the view. So we can just bring the URL into our global. Let's just bring it into our global URL file. So it's basically just one view. So we can just put this view. We have this. So we should be able to preview this template now. And yeah, we should be able to see this. So let's, while our container is still running, we can and here we'll just type in http 8080. Alright, alright, so we can see we are getting the form. That means our Django application is working, which is running by is being run by Docker. So our Dockerized Django app is running. So you can see we can enter the number of form, but if we do that, remember we redirecting to a new set of views, which is called customer. So we need to create this view just like to see the number, the customers that was generated. This is basically just going to grab the customers from our database and display them. We just grab customers. So we need to import the customers. Alright, so from where we are bringing the customers list into our customer any display.html file, sorry. So we have the customers already, so we can just set up a view for this, also a URL, sorry, for display customer. Alright, so that's basically what we need to do here. So we need to save the view also. Finally, we just need to create this display.html template, which is just going to be a very simple template also. And here we just bring it using the Django template syntax. We just loop through the customers list. Remember, we have the customers list here. All right. So loop through it and just display the customer's name and the customer's email. So once we have this now, we can test our background task now. So let's head back and just double check and make sure everything is in order. Yeah, we are passing display that. So to try this out now, we just pass in any number. Let's say we want let's try 20 is a number, and let's try to generate and see. We click generate. All right, we are getting no list. Okay, but let's check our database and make sure, see if any object was created. So let me quickly create a super user so we can check if any object was. All right, to create a super user, we just do docker compose, then a sec means we want to execute the command. Then we need to specify the service that we want to execute the command for, and we'll call our Django application web. That's the name of the service. Then the command we want to execute is Python. Let's say Python 3 manage.py. So that's the command that I want to execute on this web application, on this service, I mean. So if we click this now, you can see it's asking us for a username. So our username, let's just give it Henry. So that we'll just choose any password called. Yes, we want it to be created as far as I was created. That's fine. So let's /admin. So let's just log in. Alright, so let's check our customer model and see. You can see the customers was actually generated. Alright, so you see the 20 customers was generated. That means our Celery actually run at the background. Okay. Alright. Remember that the Celery is actually working at the background. Yes. Then it can't automatically update because we need to actually refresh the page for it to update. Alright, you can see the use of Celery. How we can use Celery to run background tasks. Mock example. So if we put in, let's say 30 users want to delete and 30, just watch. This process is going to run in the background. But if it's a normal request or request rule, this we have to reload or something. So if we click, you can see the process happens so fast. Then if we refresh, you can see we are getting the extra 30 customers, dummy customers that was created. So let's see how we can actually use this. Let's simulate a real-time example or a real-world example. All right, now we're going to look at a real-world example of how Celery can be useful in our web application. So we're going to create a kind of a simple notification system. What this is when a new post is created, we want to send an email to users of our applications that a new post was created and probably send them a link of the post that was created. I believe that is a feature that we've often seen in most popular blog and news sites. Once you sign up or you sign up for a news letter or something like that, when a new post is added, you often get notification email of the post that was created. All right, let's see how we can simulate a simple example of that now in our application using Celery. So we just create a very simple model called post. It's going to have a slug feed, title feed, the contents are created out. All right, so that. We can just create a class called meta on ordering. We want to order we want it to be orderly, so we're going to say created that, so that the latest post that is being created will be at the top. All right. Then we need to also get absolute URL, the absolute URL of the post that was created. So we need to import reverse. So that's that. So we need to just bring our string representation of an object. All right, that's the title of the post. That's a simple model that we want to use. All right, everything is fine here. So we just save it and add it to our admin. All right, so what we need to do next is basically for us to have neater work, let's just create a url.py in our app here. We'll come back to that, but first of all, let's go back to our task. So here we're going to create a background task to send a background email. All right. So we're going to define a very simple function called send. So basically this function is just going to send an email for us, right, to a list of recipients. So here it's going to take in the subject of the email. All right. It's actually a messy function. So what we need to send an email in Django, we need to import the email message from django.core.mail. So that's we're going to see from me. So here what we need to do is just to send the email. That's what the function does. So we're going to say, let's say email underscore message. So here we're going to pass in the different feeds list, receivers list. All right. So once we have that, we need to make sure that the email we are sending is an HTML email so that the users can see the link to the post that was created. So in that case, we're going to proceed and say email message. That's this variable here. We're going to say dot content subtype. We want to set it equals to HTML. All right. Then once we do that, we want to send the email by calling the email message.send. These are basically Django email sending functions. So we can add the face silently if we want. We can decide to leave that. So function is Celery task. Remember, we have to add the shared task and decorator. So this actually turns this function to a Celery task. So we have our Celery task up and running. So for us to actually call this Celery task, what should we do? Now, the ideology is when the new post is created, we want to send the email. So we're going to use Signal to listen for posts created for this model. So when a post is created, our Signal will actually send the email for us. So in that, we're just going to create a signal.py file. I believe if you are coding Django, you know about signals already. So we're just going to create a signal that will send an email to the list of our users that a new post has been created using Celery. All right. Here we're going to make some imports. First of all, we need to import the receiver and the post save signal. Then secondly, we need to import our models. All right. So secondly, we need to also import the settings. Then we need to import render to string from Django.templates.loader. Then lastly, we need to import our Celery tasks. We're going to say from. Alright, so that's what we need for now. And lastly, I think we need to import our post model too. So we're going to import that. So now we need to create a signal function, which we're going to call send underscore notification email. Alright, so this is going to be called send a notification email. So in here, it's going to take in the sender and also the instance and any keyword arguments as arguments. So once we take that, then we need to call the receiver as a decorator to the decorator, and this is going to receive. You can see it's receiving something, the signal, which is our post save signal, and the sender of the signal, which we're going to say sender, at this case is equals to our post model. All right, so our post model is the sender. So once we have that, what do we want to do now is actually first of all generate the image templates that we want to send. So we're going to say image template. That's the email body. All right, so we want to generate it. That's why we imported the render to string, because we're going to be using an HTML email template so that we can construct the link of the post that we want to actually send as part of the body to the user. So we're going to say render to string. This will take the name of the string, the template name. You can see the highlighted explanation or tips that is added. So we're going to call it email underscore template. We've not created this template yet. We'll create it shortly. .html. Then any variables that we need to pass, any variables that we need to pass in, we need to pass in a URL, which will be the URL of the post. So in that case, the post in our argument here is the instance. So we're going to say the instance dot get absolute URL. All right. So apart from that, we also want to send probably the title. So this is going to be the instance dot title. All right. So those are the two variables that will be in that template, the URL of the post and the title of the post. So we'll be needing these two in our template, in our email template, to actually construct the email message that we want to send. So once we have that, we can also construct the email subject, right? We're going to say subject is going to be just a string or say the notification for a new post. All right. So other variables that we need to pass to our email sender is we're going to say the from email. So we're going to say the from email is going to be from our settings.default email, default from email. Then the recipient list is going to be this, just a list comprehension that gets the users.email for user and users as objects.filter, where his admin is not false. His admin is false, right? So we want to actually send it to only users that are not admin. So we don't want the admin of the site to also receive the email, because the admin is also who we want to send the emails at. So it's going to send the emails to other users that are not admin. So once we have these variables set already, it's time for us to call our send background email and task. Then it's going to take in these variables and send the email for us. So we're going to call the send background task. Remember what we do? We do the dot delay. All right, that's how we call a Celery task, using the dot delay, then passing in the different variables that we have to pass in. We'll make the subject, that's the subject, equals to the subject. Then we'll make the body, this which is the message, is equal to the email template which we constructed here, and the email sender. These variables, this subject, message, email sender, receivers list. This is the receivers list. All these are actually coming from our task. If you check our task, yeah, you can see we have them here, which has all these arguments that we're passing in, the receiver's email and all that. So these are the arguments. Our signal is all set. All right, so we can actually save this now. I believe you guys understand what we did here. This is just a basic Django signal that actually sends email for us once a post is created. A signal is basically like an event that occurs when a particular action takes place or a particular operation takes place in our model. All right, so the action that has been taking place in our model now is the post create. So once the post is being created, this event will trigger this particular code here, which is send notification email, which in the background is using our send background email task. All right, so passing these variables or this. So this is all we are doing here. So what we need to do now, we need to create this email template. All right, so in our templates folder, yeah, we'll just simply create that email underscore template, email underscore template.html. We save. So here we're going to create the template email. So this is basically going to be a very simple template. So we're going to make an HTML5, and in here we are just going to create a very simple email template, which is not going to be a new post. Just make this a paragraph and put this in the p tag. All right, so we just put in a p tag, says a new post has been published. Check it out, and we just construct the email or the link of the post, which the URL is going to be our get results URL, and we are putting the title as the name of the post. All right, so we are putting this target underscore blanket so that when the user clicks on the image, we open a new tab. So we have our email template ready, we have our signals ready, and then test that, but we don't have any users in our site now. Oh, sorry, we've not set up our URL. Sorry, for the post DT page. When the user clicks on the post link that is being sent, remember we are getting associated of post DT. All right, so we need to create this view to get the post DT. So we're heading back to our view. All right, so we just quickly create a very simple view to get the post DT. All right, so that when the user clicks on the link, it actually leads to a post DT. Very, very simple, basic for view. Post read and view. All right, so this is taking our request, taking our slug. We need to import the post model also. So apart from customer, we can just import the post. All right, so that will give us our post model. So we are getting the details of the post based on the slug. We are passing it to a context, and we're rendering a template called post.html So that's fine. So we need to do two things now. Like we need to create the post.html and we also need to create a URL for this. So let's first of all create a URL for post read. All right. So once the user clicks on that link, it will go to this route to get the post detail. So our email is already set. So we need to, before I forget, we need to make migration because we will not make migration for this new model. Make migration and also create some random users in our admin page so that we can actually send email to those users. And let me check if I've added this to the admin site. I think I've added the post or we've added the post to the admin site. So head over to our terminal. Just the same way we created a super user, we also repeat the same thing, but this time we are not creating a super user. We are making a migration. So make migration. All right, you can see it says creating model post. So we need to migrate. All right, so our migration is done. So let's just head over to our admin. In our admin page, we just head over to users. And now let's just create some dummy users from our admin panel that we can actually send this email to. And secondly, we will not actually be sending a real email because we are using a test email. Remember, I told you we are using a Mailchimp. Mailchimp is a test email service that you can use to test your email functionalities in development. So it's not actually sending an email across, but you actually see the email in the Mailchimp dashboard. All right, I created just two dummy users. We have test user 1 and test user 2. Like I said earlier, we are going to be using Mailchimp. Mailchimp is just a test service for our email. So it's not actually going to be, to set up Mailchimp is very easy. Just log in and get a test account, a sandbox email. All right, so you can see once you go, just go to SNDP settings and you just get select for Django and you have your own your testing. So you can't use my, I will actually delete this immediately after I've done. All right, so you will only see your email messages here. It will not actually be sent across to the actual email. But if you want it to be sent across to the actual email, I think you have to pay. It's a paid plan that can do that. So if you do the paid plan, you can actually send the email across. But we actually the free plan, you can't see the email will not be sent to the user, but you actually see that the email was actually sent in your own dashboard here. What test? And we have our flower. We can also see our task that is running. So for us to actually do that, we are going to be creating the post through the admin also. All right, because we don't need to create the functionalities for us to actually create the post manually. So we can just do that through the admin here. So once the admin, we create a post as the admin here, the signal should be able to fire up. So once we enter create post, we just give it a test post 1. All right, so you understand what we are doing. So once we click the save button, you should be able to fire up our signal. All right, so this is a moment of truth. Let's hope everything works fine. So if we hit the save button, all right, the post was saved. Let's see if our signal was fired up. So if we go to the flower, let's see if a new task has been created. Okay, no new tasks or okay. Let's see Mailchimp and see if we have a new email. No new email. All right, let's check and find out what the issue is. Sorry, I made a typo. I forgot to call this the signal in our app.py file. That was my mistake. So we're supposed to call the signal here by defining the ready function is to import the signal to do this. That's why the signal could not fire off. So we're supposed to do that here. So that was my mistake. So do that. And secondly, in our task, we just return a notification email sent successfully. All right. So once we save this, and so let's try one more time. Hopefully everything will fine now. So let's try and create a post now. And this time we can just call it test post 2. Oh, so let's hit save now. All right, so the save was complete. So let's check our flower and see if our task was fired off. All right, our task was fired off, but the task failed. You can see the purpose of celery flower. You see the task failed. You can see say failed task. So let's find out why the task failed. You can see say set as okay. You said not registered. We have main.task.send background email. All right, the exception that was caught is that not registered. Okay, I'll go to the very first place I can check is try and get the logs. In here, we can just do docker compose. So this will show us the logs of everything that happens in our site and see if we can get any vital debugging information from here. And we can see the different service. Now for the demo, this is for the Django service. Let's see if we have any issues here. So according to our Django service, there was no kind of issues. Our request. See the full context of the message body was all right. I believe Celery Rocker is the one having the issue. Let's see where the issue is coming from. It's key error. So the reason why I actually show you this, so you know how you can debug a Docker. You say import error, cannot import name display underscore customer from main.views. Where is this coming from? From main.views. This is in app may view.py. Okay. There's an import error. So let's find out. All right. So let me quickly try a few debug issues. Or probably we need to restart our containers. I guess so. But let me quickly check and find out what the issue is.
Yes, after a series of debugging, there was not much change anyway. I just actually tweak some little things that are not really necessary, and rebuild my container, and everything is working fine. So what I really did was first this Django Celery email was not in the installed app, so I need to add it to the installed app. And on the Signal, the import was supposed to be, I did a main.task, but I just changed it to just .task. Then I rebuilt the containers, just take them down and rebuild them, and everything is working fine. But all these changes doesn't really matter. But those are the few changes that I did, and everything is working perfectly fine. So let's try it one more time. So if we head back and just try and create another email, another article or post, sorry, call this post 2, I just call it Django and Celery. Click save. Okay, so if we check our flower, you can see 4 process has been run so far. There's no failure because when we build our containers, it restarted, so there's no failure, and all of them succeeded. So if we check the tasks that are succeeded, you can see the name of the task that succeeded, which is the send background image task, and the status was success. You can see the argument that was passed, everything. You can see the result, which is notification image sent. All right, so if we check our mail trap, you can see a new email has been sent a minute ago. So if we check the email, you can see notification for a new post, and you can see it's sent from the default from email, and you can see the 2 email address that received it. This is the 2 different users that received this email, and you can see the email message. So this URL may not work because the URL may not be the right one. So if we hit this, you can see, let's see, I guess so it won't work because of the base URL is reading a matrap. instead of local host. All right, so that's not the main point here. The goal is as the goal of this tutorial is to show you how to use Celery in your Django application to speed up your performance, improve your performance by sending background images and all that. So we'll be able to achieve that with this video. All right, so I'm going to end this video here. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. And I'll still try and do one more video on Celery and Django. Maybe we'll see how we can use Celery to perform, to build a web scraping tool, automated web scraping tool. See you guys in the next video.